When we picture ancient Rome, we see pristine marble, sprawling aqueducts, and the birth of modern legal systems. But at its height, up to 40% of the city's population was enslaved. This immense labor force drove the entire Roman economy. The empire's expansion was a perpetual harvest of human beings, capturing defeated populations from Gaul, Spain, and Britain, marching them back to the capital in chains. This map illustrates the sheer volume of the Mediterranean slave trade. Trade hubs operated on an industrial scale. The market on the island of Delos, for instance, processed up to 10,000 humans in a single day. Buyers inspected these captives like livestock, pricing them purely on physical utility. Sellers had to declare physical defects, and transactions came with a 6-month warranty. Under Roman law, this condition was called dominium, absolute mastery over another person. Enslaved people had no legal rights to marriage, to their own offspring, or to their own bodies. A child born to an enslaved mother was born owned, regardless of who the father was. To support an empire stretching across 3 continents, the Roman state had to systematically strip millions of people of their legal identities and reduce them to disposable property. A person's survival depended entirely on who bought them. A domestic worker in a wealthy household might eat regularly and sleep indoors. A laborer purchased for the Spanish silver mines worked underground in chains, breathing toxic rock dust until they died, usually within months. There was one legal exit from this system: manumission. This was the formal process where an owner could legally grant an enslaved person their freedom. But manumission was incredibly rare. Owners dangled the possibility of freedom as a psychological tool. It was an incentive designed to extract maximum productivity and keep the enslaved population docile. Some were allowed to accumulate a small personal fund called a peculium. If they saved enough over years of labor, they could theoretically buy their freedom. Yet the owner held ultimate legal authority over this money, meaning they could cancel the transaction at any time. When the rules are rigged so that obedience guarantees a lifetime of exploitation, and the peaceful path to freedom is largely an illusion, violent resistance becomes the only logical choice left. Gladiators occupied a strange space in this system. They were expensive, heavily protected investments. Trainers provided them with high-calorie diets and the best physicians in Rome, only to send them into an arena to die for public entertainment. For most enslaved people, fighting back meant certain execution. For a gladiator, standing in the arena was already a death sentence. They were trained to kill, heavily armed, and backed into a corner. In 73 BC, a Thracian gladiator named Spartacus led 78 men out of a training school in Capua. They fought their way past guards using only stolen kitchen tools. Starting in Capua, the gladiators swept through estates, liberating farm workers. In 2 years, 78 men swelled into an army of 70,000. Rome sent 2 armies to crush them. The rebels obliterated both, then marched north and defeated both Roman consuls. By training men to kill efficiently for sport, the state had manufactured a military force capable of destroying its own legions. The momentum finally broke in 71 BC at Lucania. After pirates took their money and failed to provide transport to Sicily, the rebel army was cornered and crushed by the Roman general Marcus Licinius Crassus. Spartacus didn't set out to abolish the institution of global slavery. He and his followers are fighting a desperate, localized battle just to reclaim their own lives. To ensure no one would ever try to escape again, Crassus crucified 6,000 captured survivors. Their bodies were left to hang and rot. He placed those crosses directly along the Appian Way, the main artery into the capital. Every traveler, merchant, and enslaved person entering Rome walked past miles of corpses. The state maintained its massive slave economy for centuries after, but the illusion of complete control was broken. The elite built their homes with enclosed quarters to prevent escapes, permanently haunted by the fear that their property might rise up again. We study Roman architecture and law as peaks of ancient civilization, but every aqueduct, road, and temple was built by unseen hands, people whose history was erased, yet who proved that the desire to be free will eventually break through the hardest stone.